Hello everyone, Chef Eric here and welcome back to my channel for yet another video. And today we're going to be making these super delicious, super simple chocolate and mint cupcakes, which could be perfect at any picnic, at any occasions, and trust me.
So we're gonna start by lining our cupcake cases with the muffin liners or the cupcake liners, and just wanna add them individually into each container. And you wanna preheat the oven to about 180 degrees Celsius, fan assisted. Make sure you do this beforehand so that when you're done making the cupcakes, they can bake. Then you can start up with the batter. So in a large bowl, you wanna start adding in some all-purpose flour. And to that, you want to sift over some cocoa powder, some baking powder, and add in some sugar. Give everything a really good mix, and you want to set it aside. And don't forget to add in a little bit of salt, just for it to amplify the chocolate flavor and to balance everything out. Set that aside and you can start to work on our wet ingredients. So in a jug I have some buttermilk or some maziwa mala. I just made that by combining some milk and some lemon juice. You could always use store-bought. Add in some vegetable oil and crack in your eggs and give that a really good mix. So now for this cake we are making chocolate and mint cupcakes. So you want to add in some peppermint. This I just grabbed at Carrefour, so it won't be very hard to find if that's your concern. You just want to add a little bit in. Here I added about 1¼ teaspoons of peppermint extract or peppermint oil or peppermint flavor, whatever it's called. And you want to give everything a really good mix. It's going to give it a nice minty sort of vibrant flavor, but if you'd like to add more, by all means go ahead and do so. Set that aside and we can now make a cup of coffee that we're gonna add in at the end of this batter. So in a small pot, you wanna add in some hot water, some coffee beans, ground coffee, and just wanna let that boil. You could also do instant coffee, it works just fine. Let that get hot and you can start to combine our wet and our dries. You want to pour your wet into your dry and give that a really good mix. And you want to work it and give it a really good mix for about 2 minutes just to develop a little bit of gluten. This is important to make sure the cupcakes don't sink and they don't have a weird texture, so give it a really good mix. Add in your extremely hot coffee and mix just until it's fully incorporated and nice and smooth. Once it's all nice and smooth, we can now start to divide it evenly across our 3 cupcake muffin liners. So here I decided to go with an ice cream scoop to give me nice and even cupcakes, but you could also use a spoon. But since the batter is extremely loose, either use an ice cream scoop or use a jug and a spoon. That would work just fine if you have a great eyeballing measure. So just want to pour those in and you want to bake them off at 180 degrees for about 10 to 15 minutes. Mine took about 17 minutes. So just keep an eye on them and don't open the oven door too much. Just look from outside. So now we can start to make our mint whipped cream. So you want to start by adding in a ½ cup of pristine whipping cream into the bowl of your stand mixer or any whipping cream you have on hand, and you want to set aside a little bit of that cream because you need to color this a bright green. Now with whipped cream, the best way to color it is to take a little bit of it and heat it up in the microwave for about 10 to 15 seconds just until it's nice and hot. And to that you want to add in your powdered food coloring. This is the best way to color whipped cream with powdered food coloring, because otherwise it won't fully incorporate if you added it directly into your stand mixer together with the rest of your cream, and you'd have a lot of small dots and grainy bits of green food coloring lying around, and you want it nice and smooth and homogeneous. So you want to add in your green food coloring and give that a mix, and add more green food coloring depending on the intensity or how dark you want it, so that when you're adding it in you can regulate as you go, but you also need to keep in mind it darkens in the fridge. So you want to add in your powdered sugar to your cream and let that whip. Add in your delicious greenish mixture that you have there. The more you add, the darker it will be. The less you add, the lighter it will be. So it's always easier to keep an eye on that. Once that's all added in, you also want to let it whip up, and then you want to add in your peppermint extract or peppermint oil. just a little bit. Don't add too much because it can be extremely overpowering if you overdo it. Once it's all nice and whipped up, you want to add it into your piping tip with a piping bag on. And here I'm using Wilton 2D. It's versatile, and it's what I wanted for this. You could use any tips that you'd like. You could even just take a spoon and slather the cream on there, and it still look amazing, and it will probably still taste amazing. You could also use the 1M or whatever tip you have on hand will work just fine. Just make sure it's a large tip and has a large opening. This is important when we're working with cupcakes. You want to just test it out real quick, and that's kind of the design that it produces, and set it aside. Pull out your cooled cupcakes, and you can start to ice these guys. You're gonna start in the center, working your way outwards. Here I decided to go for a rosette. You could do any designs that you have in mind. You could do shells, you could do a pile of cream over the top, but I decided to keep it simple with rosettes. Chill for 10 minutes, and then you can remove them back out. And you want to, just for a little bit of extra something, you want to add over some grated chocolate. So here with a potato peeler, you just want to take your frozen chocolate and gently shave it over the top, and it will create an absolutely beautiful effect. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with all your friends. Until we meet again next week.